Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the first one is from Jose and Patricia Rensfield, El Norteno Grill, Inc., and that's at 525 East Patapsco. That was withdrawn on 7/28/15, so that item is off the docket. The next item is on the docket, and it's Russell Cobb and Sean Lagagrin. That's Sorello's Brewers Hill, Inc., Sorello's Brewers Hill, located at 3700 Toon Street, Retail G. This is a Class D beer, wine, and liquor for the application, and an application of transfer of ownership to a Class D beer, wine, and liquor, presently located at 3831 Boston Street to 3700 Toon Street. Also request for outdoor table service and off-premises catering. To add into this license, the licensee has requested to remove the sale of liquor and to downgrade the license into a beer and wine license only.
That's
So,
correct,
Mr.
7D
Kudensky?
beer and wine. For the record, Melvin J. Kudensky, 19 East Fayette Street. This license is being moved from over at the place across the street, Canton Marketplace. Ciarillo's is in New York. It's a establishment, small, 24, 30, 40 seats. They want to make it a 7-day beer and wine. The gentleman's had experience in the business. Most of the neighbors are fine. It's just really small place. It's really non-controversial.
So, just Chairman Board, the only other thing I'd like to add to the record is that I received an email from Mr. Kudensky in regards to the pecuniary interest of the Baltimore resident. He will be making the change to the license, to the application in regards to Mr. Lagergren being a 1% stakeholder.
So that won't be an issue. You'll have 1% interest in pecuniary interest.
So, Mr. Kudensky, your client understands that by downgrading to the beer and wine, he won't be able to upgrade later. You're downgrading.
You guys get your name and address so I can-
Yep.
Swear in.
Name is Russell Cobb. Address is 21 Linden Crescent, Kings Park, New York, 11754.
Understand what the chairman says. Once you downgrade it, that's what you have, okay?
Correct.
So you're giving up the 7 day, you're giving up the liquor to 6 days. You're going to 7 days, but you won't have any liquor.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
I'm nothing for that, so.
Any questions?
Any community support?
He made the 6 calls, he talked to the secretary, and nobody called him back, but they're about ready to open there. It's a small place in the low level, so there's been no protest on it.
And zoning looked at the outdoor presence?
Yeah,
Okay.
you gotta get a UNO for it anyhow. Even if you grant it to him, as you know, they will not, until he gets a UNO, he can't use it.
Okay.
Mr. Jones?
No question. No question.
I believe that it's met the statutory requirements. I'm a yes.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day. Next case, please. No problem.
The next item is, has been postponed. That is 2112 Fleet Street, Frank Batillo and Lucia Majagoni. That item will be on the August 20th docket. The next item is James Gertie and Carrie Poodles and John Burke at Wicked Sisters LLC, Wicked Sisters Tavern. This is at 3845 Falls Road, a Class B, beer, wine, and liquor, an application for transfer of ownership. Just for the board's information, I did receive a letter of support from the Hamden community, and I also received an email from the Hamden Merchants Association noting that that wasn't a support from them, it was just from the Hamden community. So but I did receive it this morning at around 11 o'clock, so I wanted to put both on the record.
From the Merchants Association?
Yeah, the Merchants Association saying that didn't necessarily mean that they were in support, but they didn't oppose it either, I guess, from the email.
Do we have an attorney?
I believe it's,
No?
no.
Okay, so why don't we have all of you sworn in that intends to testify or answer any questions or say anything?
Raise your right hands, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, yes.
Okay, who is which one is Charles and, we have Charles, Carrie, and John.
Charles, Carrie, and John.
John.
Okay, so who wants to speak? Who spoke with the community, Hamden community?
We all did.
Okay. And we've got a communication from them that they're in support.
That's correct.
Then I understand that we got an email, maybe today, is that right?
Yes, sir.
From the Merchants Association. Okay,
We did not know to reach out to them, but we have been in communication with them to set up a meeting to discuss our plans.
okay. Which one of the three of you has the experience with the liquor laws, the alcohol?
That would be me.
That would be you. Okay. And for the record, please tell us what kind of experience you have.
Well, I've owned restaurants, operated restaurants for the last 24 years here in Baltimore, and I've been on 7 licenses as a license holder. My partner Carrie has been on 3 licenses. This will be her 3rd license as well,
Okay.
and 8 years for her being on licenses. Never had an infraction or a complaint.
Okay, transfer of ownership. Okay, questions? Mr. Trotter? Oh, okay, go ahead. Do you have any questions? He's reading the letter from the Community Association.
This used to be the old,
McCabe's, correct.
and you have parking now?
Well, we have access to a 15 to 16 car lot on the 40th and Falls Road.
Zoning handles that.
I know.
Yeah.
Just one question, is there anyone here who opposed?
No. You're apparently not one of the proposed licensees, but... Right, okay, I don't really need you.
Nice, this guy. This neat?
Huh? That's one of the administrative rules that we changed. Yeah, okay.
No, I have no further comments.
Madam Secretary, anything further?
No, nothing else to add from me.
What about the merchants?
Oh, I do have I guess you have letters. I have letters from the neighbors too, some direct neighbors. I don't know if you want to accept those or.
We'll take them.
to-
Just tell them.
Did they complain?
No, they didn't complain, they just said they weren't
So
contacted.
I guess I would ask that these, all letters would be accepted as an exhibit, exhibit 1 and 2. Accepted as for records.
Do you have plans to meet with the Merchants Association, Charles?
Excuse me?
We don't know who she is.
We started the email chain today.
Okay.
They reached out to us, we responded, we'd like to meet us.
Okay. Okay, so you're in contact with them and you're in communication with them. Okay.
Tippet Tavern would be.
I hate to use these words, but upscale casual, sort of a. We haven't found the best term yet, but a little higher end than an average bar.
Expensive blue jeans. I don't know.
We're still going to have Natty Boh in a can, though.
My name's Muffin, I know nothing. I'm a yes.
I mean, yes, I mean,
But
you know,
yes,
they
just-
need the date and they're not here, so,
Keep the good crab cake there.
yes.
We will.
We will. Burgers.
Okay,
Okay, great, thank
we're
you.
done, thank you. Hmm, really?
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
No, I got one more. I'm sending
She's
it.
got-
Just make sure it's okay, okay?
He's ready.
All right, Michael Furbis and Jeffrey Fraley. This is at 3432 Hanover LLC, trade name pending, 30,
I'll yield my spot to the next person because my client was held up in traffic.
okay, okay,
Second.
okay.
Sorry.
All right, so then I'll call the next one. It is, this is Jay Napo, okay? So you got it, Jay Napo and Michael Stakalis and John Stakalis. This is Penn Restaurant LLC, Penn Restaurant and Carryout, This is at 663-65 West Pratt, a Class D beer, wine, and liquor license, an application for transfer of ownership.
Mr. Fogelman.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, always good to see you.
I have really no objections unless there's someone here to object. We would take a proffer.
Yes, and thank you. Just two brief matters. One is Mr. Napo did request outdoor table service, and so I'm assuming that's still on the docket today.
I don't, let her check.
Sure.
Because I don't have it on mine.
Right, let me make sure, let me check on the application. Okay, off premises and outdoors on the bottom of this. I apologize, let me make sure that's right into the record, it is on the bottom of the
Is
application.
that posted for everyone to see?
Was that on the posting? Let me try on the posting.
Sure. Outdoor table service.
Let me make sure it's in here.
It's here.
I have a
I
copy.
see, no, yeah, I saw that, but
Yeah, it's on the application,
but
but
is it posted?
that's what she's
I'm
checking.
looking at the posting, and it looks like from the picture's not great, but it does look like that they had it posted. that
Great.
way. So-
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Very quickly, the applicant, Mr. Napo, is taking over the business. Mr. John Stockius and Michael Stockius, who've operated the Penn Restaurant for the last 43 years, are going to stay on as minority shareholders. Mr. Napo spoke with Tom Yeager of Downtown Partnership. The restaurant is located near University of Maryland. It's a very commercial area, and it is well-known for breakfast and lunch. Mr. Napo filled this out before hiring counsel, the applicant's interview form, and he'd like to make a brief amendment to make sure that he's complying with the law and all his statements are accurate. He was confused by a couple of the, as far as the financial transaction, the amounts for the business. So he's happy to amend the application today, right here, and take care of that.
Let's have him sworn.
Thank you.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Mr. Fogelman, why don't you lead him?
I sure will.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, Mr., with respect to the financials? Yep.
Whatever you want to amend, and then we'll check with the
You got it.
secretary and make sure everything's in order.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Napo, you're an applicant here today for the liquor license at 663 to 65 West Pratt Street, isn't that right?
Yes.
All right. And in fact, you're purchasing the business for $150,000?
Yes.
All right. That's a $15,000 down payment on your part, and the closing date, is that right?
That's correct.
All right. And the closing date was August 15th, 2015?
That's correct.
All right. The rental fee for the property owned by Mr. Michael and John Stockius, who are also the landlords, is $6,000 per month. Isn't that right?
That's correct.
All right. And that should, finally, on number 6 on the applicant's interview forms, a source of funds to be used for these transactions. You have indicated to me that your personal savings at Point Breeze Credit Union would be accessible.
Correct.
All right. Thank you. And he'll make sure that all of the appropriate information is put in writing with the application. I thank you.
Madam Secretary, do you want that from the applicant, or do you want that from Mr. Fogelman?
As long as we can accept that as an exhibit right now, and then we can put that into the record, and that way that's amended.
Thank you. It asks that that be received.
Yes, sir.
And let me sign. And the applicant's interview form doesn't actually require a signature, but he'll be happy to initial that information.
Yeah, let's have him do that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Madam Secretary, is there anything else?
There's nothing else that I have on this file.
Based on the property information, the amendments, I'm a yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
Too.
Thank you very much for that, Bruce.
Regular docket. Well, that's the, yeah.
Do you want me to go back to yours, or no?
Is she
Okay.
ready?
You ready? Okay, all
Okay,
right, so we'll
all
move to the
right.
next one.
Okay.
So the next item is Tisha Powell, trade name Playpole Lounge. This is at 417 East Baltimore Street, a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor, and also this is an adult entertainment license.
Madam, you want to take the consent docket? He just walked in the door.
I'll give you a second. Go ahead and come up with Tisha, since I've read it, no problem. Application for transfer of ownership.
For the record, Melvin J. Cadenzi, 19 East Fayette Street, representing the applicant. This is an application to transfer BD7 beer, wine, liquor license and adult entertainment license at the former, I don't know that you know anything about this, at the former Oasis nightclub. Not that I saw any pictures, but that's the transfer of the location. It's coming out of a bankruptcy. It's transferred by Joseph Bellinger, the bankruptcy trustee, to the particular applicant. In this case, I would,
Hold time out. The court reporter is picking up other conversations in the hearing room, so if you need to have another conversation, I just saw him stand up, I don't know who it was, just please go outside and have your conversation. Okay.
if you want, I'll at least qualify the applicant in this case. Can you state, you want to swear her in first?
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
You state your name and address for the record.
Name is Tisha Powell, address 1017 Iris Avenue.
Now, you've been a city resident for 17 years, is that correct?
Yes.
Principally at Iris Avenue.
Yes.
And along with that, the board be concerned about what is your qualifications with regard to both the alcoholic beverage business and the adult entertainment business. Have you worked in that business, and where and for how long?
Yes, for the past 4 years.
All right, where have you worked?
Worked at the Hustler Club.
Which is also on the block?
Yes.
Okay, and where else have you worked since then?
The Ritz Cabaret.
All right, and you were not a dancer. You worked in management and as a behind the bar and so forth, and did the schedules. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. And regarding that, the rules and regulations of the liquor board and the adult entertainment, you have both of those rules in your hand, and you're also going to take the alcohol awareness course.
Correct.
And what do you think the hours of operation? When are you going to open and when are you going to close there?
From about 5 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Which is pretty much what everybody else does on the block.
Correct.
And along with that, how many employees do you think you would have?
5 or 6 employees.
Not including the dancers.
Yes, those are.
And okay. And you're familiar with what you need for the dancers as far as their IDs, their driver's licenses, and verify their age and so forth.
Correct.
You know they got to be over age 18.
Yes.
Okay. And along with that, you are going to have security, is that correct?
Correct.
You're going to have cameras inside
Correct.
and outside.
Yes, sir.
You'll make that material available to the police if there's any type of disturbance, and you'll make sure that the feed on it keeps it for 30 days
Yes.
on that. And along with that, when do you think, if the board would grant the approval, how long would it be before you'd be able to open? A month or two if you get the place? You're not making any changes to the inside, is that correct?
No changes.
Okay. And you're leasing the property, is that right?
Correct.
How much is the rent there?
$5,000
A month?
a month.
She said about a month.
Oh,
Yeah. I think it's mainly it's not any food or anything. Just got to clean the place up because it's been closed for a while and while the bankruptcy was pending.
Okay.
I don't have anything from the applicant. We provide the information to the executive secretary as to the bankruptcy orders from Mr. Bellinger, and they're in the file. Is that correct?
That is correct. We have it in the file, and it's a part of the application process, sir.
Mr. Trotter? She knows the rules of the adult entertainment?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's working, if you work at the Hustler and the other one, yeah, you know. I don't know them all now. I'm going to let you lead you astray, you know. I'm still a young boy learning, bashful. I still close my eyes.
I just have some source of funds, like some personal savings, and just other words that follow that. Could you please identify those words?
All right, you've made a down payment of how much?
$10,000.
And then the balance you're paying at $1,000 or $2,000 a month, is that correct?
Yes.
Depending on once you get open.
Correct.
And the $10,000 came from personal savings?
Yes.
And what's the, and from where? That's our allowance?
Oh, no, it's the landlord's allowance. The landlord bought the whole package. That's why she's paying the landlord back $1,000 or $2,000 on the purchase price. The personal savings are from her working at the Hustler and at the Ritz.
Okay.
That would be on sum and substance of the applicant's case.
This has been solved by bankruptcy?
Yeah, it was sold through a bankruptcy, and we provided the info. It took a long time, and it was torture. Lucky I wasn't handling it. It was Mr. Previs and a bunch of other ones in there, like a bunch of kamikaze pilots that lived.
Never mind, I'm not going to say. I'm a yes.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. Madam Secretary, we're back to Poodles, right? No, we're back to Furbish, right, I'm sorry. Furbish, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I'm sorry to disrupt the schedule here.
It's not a problem.
So I'm going to read it again. It's Michael Furbish
Yes.
and Jeff Fraley, 3432 Hanover Street, trade-in pending at 3432 South Hanover Street. This is a Class BD7 application for transfer of ownership. We, just for the file records, we did receive 3 letters of support in regards to this application.
For the record, counsel?
Good afternoon. My name is Priscilla Carroll. I'm an attorney with Bowie and Jensen. I'm representing Michael Furbish and the LLC and Jeff Fraley. Mr. Furbish couldn't be with us today. He's in Alaska as I speak. But Jeff Fraley is here. And Jeff, would you give your name and address?
My name's Jeff Fraley. My residence is 115 West Randall Street, 21230.
How is Mr. Fraley associated with this application?
He is listed as one of the 2 individuals on the license along with the LLC and Mr. Furbish. Mr. Furbish owns 100% of the LLC.
Okay, now, here's how we can proceed with a proffer if you intend to have Mr. Fraley testify as to anything he needs to be sworn. Okay?
Okay?
And you can lead him if you need to.
Okay, great.
All right.
That's the best kind.
Okay.
Before we went into his testimony, I actually have 9 letters of support here, and I brought extra copies because I think it's sort of surprising how many people are excited about this transfer. It's not something you're usually privy to. So let's swear Mr. Fraley in, and we'll proceed with his leading testimony.
Okey dokey.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give this hearing
I do.
Jeff, can you explain to the commissioners how you and Michael have gotten to know each other over the last few years?
Certainly. About 5 years ago, I was lucky enough to be selected as the chairman of the South Baltimore Business Alliance down in Curtis Bay. We turned a typical business coalition of industrial representation into a full-fledged philanthropic effort down there in Curtis Bay and Brooklyn. Since then, Michael Furbish joined the group, I believe, about 2 years ago, and we developed both working and non-working relationships. Michael's a very smart guy. I wish he was here to present to you guys today. He has a very specific vision for Brooklyn, where his offices are located, to help serve the community. And this isn't a vision that was born yesterday. He's been working on this for quite some time with the community leaders, with the local business owners, and with the local residents down there in Brooklyn. And he feels that, I would almost compare it to the city deeming an area a food desert. He feels that there is certainly a need for a good working restaurant right there at the foot of Brooklyn before the Hanover Street Bridge for all of the businesses that we are able to attract to that area. So not only a lunch spot, perhaps a breakfast restaurant, but something in the evening as well. And as time transpires, we see the investment that Under Armour is making in Port Covington, and that the industrial and blue-collar businesses of the world down in Curtis Bay and Brooklyn Park We feel that there's a tremendous need for it, as well as the
And
the
can you
folks in the
explain
community.
the relationship of the business and where the license is located to Michael Furbish's business?
Okay. So the existing business is located directly across Hanover Street from Michael Furbish's operation, which, if you've been down there, you'd recognize it as the Lucky's Building, which he fully restored and turned into a 100% green building. Now serves as 5 levels, I believe, of office space.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we're very optimistic that this will be a very happy transfer, and we're working hard to make sure that it goes as smoothly as possible. Is there any other information you'd like to have?
Madam Secretary?
No, we have everything else that we need. The last inspection date was 7/29, so we're okay.
And we have 3 letters of support, but does that include these 9? Do
Some
you
of
know?
them are duplicates, so there will be a total of 9, I guess, in the budget.
Okay,
I think there's, yeah, I think
All right.
that's all there is. No.
okay. Mr. Trotter?
Community Association? What do they say?
Well, Pat Willis, if you know,
Wills.
you know. And she's got a letter in there. If there was any community opposition, she would be heading it. And she is definitely supporting it. She's with Will's Printing.
Okay.
It's so funny, your reaction.
She runs what's left of the Brooklyn Coalition down there, yeah.
She's a very strong supporter of that area. Advocate for the.
She is. She's a good soul.
In the area. So if she said yes,
It's got to be good, right?
you must do something right.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a yes.
He's a yes, I'm a yes.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, all the best.
Thank you very much.
Don't cut yourself short, your presentation was very good.
Oh, thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate that. Sorry about me being late, but there's more than enough
You don't
road
have
work
to
on South Charles
apologize.
Street.
You don't have to apologize for anything.
Yeah, Hanover Street Bridge. Hopefully Under Armour does some infrastructure.
Hopefully, yeah. What's
This is
next?
a hardship extension for Daphne Henson, Big Dipper Investments LLC, trade name is Breezy's, at 2015 East Federal Street. This is a Class BD7, beer, wine, and liquor, a request for hardship extension under 2B 10504D.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
No
afternoon.
attorney, right?
No.
No, ma'am.
So let's have you two sworn in, please. Raise your right hand.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, all the truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, and identify yourselves, please, for the record.
I'm Delphine Henson, and owner of the liquor license.
Okay, and you, sir?
Darren Henson, I'm her son. I own the building that was
Okay,
kind of,
okay. Madam Secretary, this is a hardship extension. This, I looked at this just now real quickly. The building was sold, but not the license, apparently.
Correct.
So-
So the information that we have on this is that there was a hardship extension submitted to your office on June 22nd, 2015, by email, requesting for a hardship extension. The application, the last operation dates that we had from looking at the file, there were a series of inspections that were in there that said it was closed but were not dated. So I do not have updated inspection information, but from my searching of the public record, the building was sold on 11/21/2014. So that's the information that I have for you today, is that,
we continue to operate until March.
okay, so
And
that's what
At which
you,
time we turned it over to the church.
we'll need
Yes.
to, you'll need to proffer your operation because we don't have any other, so that's what
I
you'll
understand.
need to talk to.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what we need to have, because you're outside
Outside the 180 days.
180 days, but if, that's what we thought when I looked at this in November, but you're telling me now that it was operated till March.
We didn't turn everything over completely until March. We did still have some operation.
So what's your
Okay.
last day of operation?
Would have been beginning of March, probably March 1st, yes.
Okay.
Then if their last day of operation was March 1st, 2015, then their submission of a hardship extension would be in a timely manner, so.
And that's your testimony,
Yes,
March
sir.
1st? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Do you
I
have any
can,
liquor, do you have any receipts of liquor, because usually what we
no, ma'am,
ask
we,
for-
as a matter of fact, part of the reason we had to close, that I had to stop operating was because the building literally just flooded, all the pipes burst,
during the winter freeze.
Okay, so-
Everything was destroyed. We couldn't even get into the building.
Do you have any receipts from January, February?
I can try and find some. I don't believe I do. I don't want to tell the board that I have something I don't.
Well, when you turned in your retail sales tax, did you turn it in for February? I mean, you would have had to turn it
No,
into the
sir, I
state.
just paid my taxes. We really weren't doing that much business. I mean, we were open, but we weren't.
Well, you have some documentation of some sort that shows you were open.
No, I don't think there is any. We just, like I said, I kept the doors open so that we wouldn't be classified as closed, but we really, I mean, there were no customers. The place had, we really just weren't doing any business. That was part of the problem.
See, here's my dilemma. Okay, I'm not going to speak for the other two commissioners because they can vote for themselves. You're asking for a hardship extension. If in fact you were still in operation until March, you come under the time limit. If you don't, you're not under the time limit. That's a whole different ball of wax, okay? What I would like to see is some documentation that shows somehow that you were in operation in January, February, or March, some paperwork to a state agency, a city agency that says...
Like my real property taxes, something like that, that shows that we were...
No, because that shows that you were paying your taxes on your real property. I'm talking about maybe a purchase from a distributor, okay? Retail sales tax submission, an employee submission for taxes, Social Security, anything like that.
But I can try and find something. Is it possible for us to get a postponement to try and get that information and turn it into the board? Like I said, I don't want to stand here and lie to the board.
Well, I don't want you to lie to me either, because that's not going to work.
That I can't put my hands on. There were no employees. I mean, basically, it's just.
But there's got to be
one of us.
something, Mom, there's got to be something to show that he was in business.
Okay.
Something, okay? Anything.
I'll find it.
Well, I have to find it, because, no,
You gotta
He
find
was
it.
running for me, so I don't have all of those
Okay.
particulars.
Madam Secretary, if
Yeah.
we continue this and postpone it for this gentleman to look for these documents and put it back on the record, is that possible?
Yes, the board can decide to do that, and you could also decide doing it pending, that the approval is pending the fact that he provides that information to our office as well. Either one you can decide to make. Okay.
I'd like to see the documents. I don't want to give an approval without some documents. I mean, we can do it quickly. You
Yes,
can
sir.
call up the office and say, we'll put it on the next Thursday. That's not a
Yes, sir.
problem. That's my word to you. We'll do it quickly for you.
Well, it
Yes, sir.
can't be a lot. I know you didn't
I
order
don't need
anything,
a
because
lot.
there wasn't
I need
anybody to buy
something.
liquors
I'll
for.
find you.
You know what I mean?
I will find you something.
Something, yeah.
Okay?
I'll find you something.
You know what, you see what I'm saying,
Yes, sir.
right? Okay.
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, because I just can't,
I
make
understand.
it up.
No, sir,
You
I
know,
understand.
change
And
the
that's-
rules. I
That's why,
mean-
and I don't want either of us to do that. I will
Well,
find you
that's not going to
something.
happen. Okay? All right,
Yeah.
Mr. Jones, you okay with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to postpone it until such time as you or your mother call the office, say we've got what we need, and we're going to put it back on the record, and we're going to come back in, and hopefully it won't take us long, and you'll produce that, and she'll already have it, I hope, and we'll come in and say, we're okay, I hope.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Okay? You with me?
Yes,
sounds
sir.
fine. Sounds
Okay.
fine.
All right, you're
Thank you.
dismissed.
Okay.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you.
Thank you.
Do we
You still need, no? Okay,
You'll pay for it once you come back.
okay.
Okay, thanks. What's next?
Daniel Halpern for the Fridays, TGI Fridays.
Oh, the TGI
Mhm.
Fridays. That's the new one, right?
That's correct. Good
So-
afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, my name is Linda Carter, and it's my pleasure to be,
Not yet. I'm going to read in a second.
sorry, jumping the gun.
You got so
I'm
excited.
just trying to move things along here.
That's okay.
All right, you guys ready? Okay.
Go ahead.
Daniel Halpern, Brooke Edmond, Sabrine Shaw, and this is Atlanta Restaurants Partners, LLC. Trade name is TGI Fridays at 2435 Liberty Heights Avenue. This is a Class B beer and wine application, license, an application for a new B restaurant under the provisions of Rule 2.08, requiring a minimum capital investment of $200,000 in restaurant fixtures, facilities, and seating capacity for a minimum of 75, and this also is a request for outdoor seating.
Okay, now, counsel, for the record, and if you intend to have your clients testify, we need to have them sworn in. If not, we'll accept the proffer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon. Again, for the record, my name is Linda Carter, and I'm an attorney with the law firm of Myers, Rodbell, and Rosenbaum, and it's my pleasure to be before you this afternoon in connection with this application for two reasons. First, the privilege of being able to represent Jackmont Hospitality is always indeed just that, a privilege. But secondly, to be able to put a TGI Fridays at Mondawmin Mall, in light of all of the bad publicity that that area has gotten, is indeed, again, a privilege. I think if the board will accept my proffers, as applicant's exhibit number 1, please, I'd like to hand the board our...
You're already getting hungry, aren't you?
We can arrange delivery.
September 15th.
No, I don't think so.
Applicant's exhibit number 1 contains bearings here, a layout, a menu, and also the franchise site presentation. Jackmont Hospitality operates currently 40 TGI Fridays throughout the country. In addition, it operates a number of food outlets, both in hospitals and in colleges throughout the United States. But it is one of the fastest growing TGI Friday franchises in the nation, and it has a history of choosing locations that have actually been rejected by other national chains. In addition to applicant's exhibit number 1, if I could please give the board, and I know some of this you obviously have knowledge of, but just to build my record, what I'd like to have marked as applicant's exhibit number 2, which is the promo piece, if you will, that Mondawmin Mall puts out.
Is this, I'm sorry to interrupt, but this is, the promo piece looks like it's inside the mall, but it's actually an out parcel, correct?
Correct. That is
Right,
correct.
Right.
It sits at the intersection of Tioga and Liberty.
Okay.
It's the only pad that's complete. There is another pad across the parking lot in that same general vicinity, but to date, that's not developed at all, correct?
Okay, right, okay.
And last but not least, the Mondawmin Mall. Interior layout.
Right.
Inside, I apologize. Jackmont Hospitality actually had its beginnings in 1930 when Reverend Maynard Jackson started something called Jackson Mount. His son, who was later to become the mayor of Atlanta, formed Jackmont Hospitality, along with Dan Halpern, who is one of the licensees or proposed licensees, and Brooke Jackson, who was Mayor Jackson's daughter. As I indicated earlier, Jackmont tries to go into areas where other national chains have turned their backs. And if you look at Prince George's County, and these two are both managers right now at 2 Prince George's County locations, District Heights and Largo are 2 perfect examples. District Heights, and our manager at this location is currently our District Heights manager, has had some of the problems that Fridays anticipates they may have at this particular location, and they've been handled without incident. This particular location will have 24 cameras that were installed yesterday on the exterior of the premises, and will have 2 police officers. They will be real police officers, but not in uniform, at all hours during which they're open. The hours of operation are scheduled to be from 11 o'clock in the morning till 2 a.m., 7 days a week. The full menu is available from opening to closing throughout the restaurant. The restaurant is almost 7,000 square feet, which, 10 years ago, as you all know, this was a standard-sized restaurant. Today, this is a big restaurant. And one of the reasons why Jackmont has chosen to build a restaurant of this size is that in this particular area, there are no full-service, sit-down restaurants where you can actually have a drink with your meal. The anticipated food-alcohol ratio is going to be 75 or more percent food to 24 or 25% alcohol. There's a children's menu, of course. There's ample parking. Our total construction costs are actually going to exceed $3.6 million. We had estimated only $3 million, I think, when we filed the application. But everything's expensive, and we're up to about 3.6 at this point. With any luck at all, we hope to open around September the 15th to the 18th. 15th. And hiring is actually, I'm sorry. John, could you please state your name for the record?
My name is John Hatib. I'm the general manager of that District Heights location.
You'll have to spell that for the court
Okay.
reporter, I'm sorry.
John,
He's got that, I think.
Hatib, I usually get that, by
Okay.
the way. H as in Henry, A as in Apple, T as in Tom, I as in ink, and B as in boy.
Now, counsel, if he's going to testify.
I wasn't really planning on,
Okay,
I
you're just
apologize.
identifying,
Yeah,
okay.
he corrected my 18 to 15,
Okay,
so.
all right.
Hiring will actually start next week. We anticipate our ultimate employee count will be roughly 150, but we'll probably start out with about between 170 and 180 employees.
From the community?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I knew you were going to ask
Yeah,
that.
yeah. All of our managers are alcohol awareness certified, and all employees will be alcohol awareness certified. Fridays, Jackmont Hospitality and Fridays both take that role very seriously. And, Mr. Chairman, that would be our case unless you want me to. I will proffer for the record that our resident licensee is in fact a Baltimore City resident, has lived here continuously and without an interruption for at least the last 15 years, and is a registered voter. She is also a Fridays employee. She's the manager of our Largo location. And neither the manager nor my resident licensee have any violations concerning the sale or control of alcoholic beverages at any location at which they've ever worked.
John there seems like he's got it all down. He knew exactly when he wanted to open and how many cameras and everything. I mean.
He prepped me for today.
Oh, did he? That's why he's got that gold star, probably.
That's right. He
Yeah.
prepped me for today.
All right.
Ms. Carter, the only issue that we find is the fact that there needs to be a pecuniary interest for sibling for the Shaw, and then because you have it listed as zero, you may have to modify that
We'll
information.
gladly do that.
1% interest.
We'll take care of that.
Thank you.
It's just beer and wine.
Beer, wine, and liquor. Please, don't tell me we made that mistake.
No, you didn't.
I have to tell you all, this was, somehow the application fell through the cracks at headquarters, and you gentlemen need to know that your staff assisted us greatly in being able to get this timely filed and in proper form to be heard before you today.
She's already had her performance review. Yeah, I don't.
That's what's.
But it's nice to.
Well,
have
your
those
entire staff could not have been more cooperative and helpful and just let us make it happen so that we could come before you today.
Well,
So
that's
thank
nice
you.
to know. Thank you for telling us.
So when was it started?
Jackmont Hospitality, originally in the
No, I mean
1930s.
this location. You started to build it, right?
Oh, yeah.
About a year ago, construction began.
It stopped a little bit, maybe a week during the riot, but since then, they've been moving faster than I could actually imagine, so.
Mr. Jones, do you have any questions or comments? I know you're.
Well, I have a comment.
I know you're glad it's gone
I'm
over.
glad to have you there.
Yeah.
That area is suffering, and
This should help.
and the type of business that you're putting there, I think it's going to be a credit to that community. And most importantly, you're going to hire somebody from that community, which means that you're going to provide jobs.
Exactly.
And that area, not only that area, but all of Baltimore is in dire need of jobs.
That's right.
We appreciate that.
And I can tell you, because I have the pleasure of representing Jackmont throughout the Washington, Baltimore metropolitan area. At our District Heights location in particular, Largo has had some commercial growth, But District Heights, we were really one of the first people to go down there, and we've been very successful, and that success parlays into success for the community. So we're hoping that this will continue the revitalization that we believe is occurring.
And one thing further, I hope I never see you before underage drinking.
Yes.
I'm a
That's the
stickler
problem.
for that.
That's the
And
problem.
trust me, you don't want to come before me.
We don't want to do that. For the record, I've been working for Fridays for 18 years. Never have, and I don't anticipate having one here.
Very good.
You want to vote?
Yes.
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 Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. You all have a pleasant day.
All the best. Good luck. We
Thank
need
you
it
very
over
much.
there.
Thank you.
We
Thank you
need
very
that.
much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
That was good.
Okay.
Best one I had in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And the jobs,
Yep. Hmm? Yes, sir.
no, I just had one recording this in my phone.
Yeah, he needs a second.
The last one is your violation cases. Leandra Jones, Jacob Jones Enterprises LLC, Lee's Place. This is located at 322 North Franklin Road, a Class BD7. There are 3 charges. One is in Rule 312, Public Welfare. This occurred on July 11th, 2015. At approximately 1:30 p.m., Baltimore City Police responded to an establishment for reports of a shooting. Police conducted an investigation and determined that a physical altercation had occurred inside the establishment. One of the individuals involved in the altercation left the establishment, retrieved a gun, and started shooting at the direction of the bar. By this time, a fight had spilled outside of the bar and had left an individual attempting to break up the physical altercation was shot in the left arm. After being struck by the bullet, the victim ran inside of the establishment for protection. Officers could not find an employee who observed the fight, nor could the police make contact with anyone who could contact the licensee to discuss the matter. Furthermore, upon the initial contact, the security personnel assigned to the door denied that he was the security personnel. He later admitted that he was employed as security at the establishment and had been drinking alcoholic beverages while working. The second violation is a violation of Rule 4.18. On the same date, July 11, 2015, at approximately 1:30, the Baltimore Police responded to the establishments with the reports of the shooting. The illegal conduct was in regards to the fact that that there was a fight at the bar, because I've read the other things in this one. The last violation is Rule 3.02, Cooperation. This again happened on July 11, 2015. When officers could not find an employee who observed the fight nor could make contact with anyone, they were not, and also in regards to the security personnel who was assigned, who denied that he was working as security and then later admitted that he was security. So that was a cooperation issue. I have Detective Akawande here for the police department and
Detective Akiwani, Mr. Chairman.
So, and you're? Okay. So all those who intend to testify, which I assume will be the 3 of you, please raise your right hands and the court reporter will swear you in.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Now, would you identify yourself, please, for the record?
I'm Leandra Jones, owner of Jacobs & Jones LLC, trading name Lee's Place.
Okay. What would you like to tell us about this incident?
That this incident or fight or whatever is being referenced in this notice did not happen inside of Lee's Place, which is why no employee was able to witness the incident. The young lady who was shot ran to our front steps for help, and our bartender assisted her. And then the police were called by, I'm not sure who the police were called by, but we were closed at the time, which is why all those people were outside, because they had already been put out of the bar, because we usually close around 1:30, 1:45. So nobody can witness an incident that they did not see.
Okay. Now, what about the allegation that the security person that you had at the door said he wasn't security person, and that he later said he was a security person, and he had been drinking.
He is an employed security guard, but he was not working at that time. We have suffered tremendously, beginning with the unrest in Baltimore at the end of April, and we've had to cut back a lot. We lost business during the curfew, and things just haven't seemed to pick up since.
Okay, now I have another question. When they attempted, and I think I've read this somewhere, when they attempted to contact the owner, which I'm assuming would be you.
Yes.
They weren't able to contact anyone. They weren't able to contact the licensee, which is you.
When I spoke to the bartender who assisted the victim, she told me that the police asked her for a number for me, and she had given them my phone number, but I didn't receive any phone call from the police.
Okay. Officer?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
when myself, Detective Garrett and myself responded to the location, we sort of as I wrote in my report, we saw a blood trail leading up to the location. Everybody who was in that establishment were held by the district detective units and were instructed to stay there by the district detective units and the patrol officers. When I went into the location, the person who let me into the door was Mr. What's his name? Darrell Dillard. So I assumed he was the security guard. What I was trying to do at that location was try to figure out who was responsible for controlling the bar, who the bar manager was. When I did ask him if he was a security guard or an employee of the establishment, he immediately said no. I then went to the next person that I could identify as an employee of the establishment. She said she wasn't a manager, she just works in the kitchen. As a matter of fact, she said her children were downstairs in the kitchen. Then I went to the next most obvious person who worked at the establishment, which was who I assumed was the bartender, and asked her if she was the manager or if she worked at the bar. She said she's just a bartender, she works under the kitchen person, which the kitchen person told me she had only been there for a week. So I got a feeling that I was given a runaround. So at that point I asked if they know who the licensee was, because I picked up their liquor license and looked at the lady to my rights.
Miss Jones.
Miss Jones' name.
Right.
The security guard said he had never met her. I'm sorry. He had never met her before, and he doesn't know how he gets. I'm sorry. He gave me the impression that he gets paid cash, but she had never paid him before. So, I got a feeling I was getting a runaround, and there was no cooperation. They didn't provide any employee records for me either. It was just hard to get information from me. I doubt the detectives got any more information than I did due to that incident. As far as the fight happened in the bar, I spoke to detectives that are not summoned here today and patrol officers that the fight did happen inside a bar. The altercation happened inside a bar, and when people were leaving, as you can see in my report, I responded there around 1:30. Mrs. Jones said her bar closes at 1:35. What other time do you say?
I said we usually close between 1:30 and 1:45. Is when we start asking people to leave.
Well, I responded at 1:30, so the bar wouldn't have been closed at the time that I responded if the altercation didn't happen.
When you responded, there were no customers in the bar, and this incident did not happen in the bar, and you found the victim outside because the victim ran to our front for assistance.
That may be true, but unless the 10 people in the bar were
inside the locked door with no customers. So they had to come out to open the door to let you in because the door was still locked even though the bartender came out to help.
You only have three identified employees working in that.
But there were no
establishment
customers
today.
inside of Lee's
Okay.
place.
Okay.
We can't have this.
Okay.
Somebody got to testify.
You know,
Somebody got to
hold on a second. Was the door locked? when you got
The door was locked.
there? Okay. So the door was locked when you got there, and then you made entry and you started to ask these questions.
That is correct.
Then you got a number, but you were unable to contact Miss Jones.
That is incorrect, Mr. Chairman. Both Detective Garrett and myself were trying to ascertain the location or number or contact number for Mrs. Jones. All the employees told us that they don't know who she is.
I thought-
the security guard says he knows who she is, but he has never met her before.
Didn't I hear someone testify that you got a number for her?
I was told that he was given my name and number to contact me.
Oh, you were told. Okay, but you didn't get a number for her.
That is correct. All I had was her name from the liquor license.
Okay. Detective,
Yes, sir.
do you have anything?
I do. So, just to clarify the situation,
Just for the record, so do you know who he is?
Detective Jonathan Garrett. Garrett? Yes. To clarify the situation, when we arrived, we were not the first responders.
We, meaning you?
Myself and my partner, yes. So
Okay.
there were already police and district detective units there. So by the time we got there, the scene was already controlled. So when we went to the bar and made entry into the bar, the door was locked, but there were more than 3 people in the bar. Now, if they were customers, I would assume that they were customers. That's my assumption. But I don't know if the police told them to go inside and wait or stand by. I wasn't there for that. But there were more than 3 employees in there. And when my partner started doing his initial questions, nobody was cooperative. The bartender said that, you know, when I actually asked, how do you get paid? She said, well, I get paid, but the person on the license I never met. The doorman, from initially going inside, he said he didn't work there and he was just there. As we were leaving, he said that he does work security, but he was off that night and he was just standing by, but he was watching the door. And like he said, the lady in the kitchen said that she was only there for a week and she didn't control it. So when we went there was no management established when we went inside. So there was no cooperation. We never received a phone number because the only truth that we got was when we were leaving from the security guard and he, you know, acknowledged that he does work security there. We never received the number. We never received her information to call because we would have called. It was an active crime scene. We never received that. That's what I have. That's all I really have to
All right. Now, Ms. Jones, you are permitted to cross-examine these witnesses. I don't want to hear a story. You can ask them questions, okay?
Okay.
All right.
First, I'd like to know if something happens outside in the public on the streets of Baltimore, what does that have to do with a business and inside the business? Because this young lady, again, was shot outside, and she ran to our front for help. She was not in the bar. So I'm asking, what do the employees or the owner of Lee's Place have to do with an incident that happens outside? And
Can I answer that?
yes.
She wants you to.
Again, we weren't the first responders, so I don't know. We received the story from the officers that were there. So whether it happened inside, that's to debate between them, but we were told by the officers on scene that it started inside your business and it spewed outside of your business. So that's what we were led to believe happened.
In addition to that, like I said, it was information that we got from the detectives, and that's the preliminary investigation that they had. The patrons that are outside being treated, or the patrons that were outside being treated, were not dressed in a regular form. They looked like they were dressed to go out to a party. So I wouldn't assume that they were just walking around the street and got shot. That's what would lead me to believe that they were inside, besides the fact that the detectives told me and my partner what had happened before we got there. And basically from the questions that he asked everybody.
Okay.
Okay, so do these officers or the two of you have any witnesses that were there and witnessed this so-called fight that happened? And did anybody point out the shooter? And can anybody identify the victim that was shot to say that she was involved in an altercation inside of Lee's Place that spilled outside to cause her to be shot?
That is an ongoing investigation.
Okay. Any other questions?
I still don't understand what this altercation outside has to do with the inside of Lee's Place, but
Okay.
I'm not receiving an answer on that.
Okay. So do you have any closing comments?
Yes, we've been open for about a year. There have been no incidents inside or outside of Lee's Place. We do not tolerate it. We have a mature crowd. There are a lot of people who used to patronize this business when there were problems before I took over. We don't have that anymore. We don't even let those people inside. So this is an isolated incident, and again, like I said, it has absolutely nothing to do with me or any of my employees, and I don't think that we should have to take any type of responsibility for something that we had no knowledge of and no involvement.
Okay. Mr. Trotter?
What's the ongoing investigation?
Mr. Commissioner, when I said that, it's the district detective units are investigating a shooting, so to give out the witness information and all the other information. I'm not in control of that information. I can't
There's
access
no
it.
ongoing investigation.
That is correct. That has not been, I don't know whether it's been solved or not, and it still has to go through the motions of court trial before releasing that information.
They have witnesses.
Yes, Your Honor.
They have the person who was shot, shooter.
That is correct. As far as the person who did the shooting, I'm pretty sure they have a workup on who it is. But I do not have that information with me.
But their investigation would give us where the incident occurred.
That is correct. All I have is a preliminary investigation from that night, which is an officer responding to the location, seeing a victim, identifying her, calling for a medic, and another officer's report, which basically shows that he followed the victim to the hospital. As far as the workups that the detectives have for the investigation, I don't have that information right now because I don't know whether they have completed their investigation or not.
Victim was shot outside
That is correct.
and went into the bar.
That information I don't have. She said that
No,
walked
she
in the
did
bar.
not go inside the bar. She was on the front porch of the bar where she received assistance from my bartender.
She
And
just-
I'm sure in somebody's report, you have pictures of all the blood from her sitting on the front porch.
You said that she went into the bar. I
never
didn't re-
said that she went into the bar. I
Okay.
said she came to the front
Excuse
of the
me,
bar.
We're going to ask questions, and you're going to give answers. We're not going to have a back and forth. Mr. Trotter, you have any other questions?
I want to know the relationships of the police. The police came first, just the patrol unit?
The patrol units and the district detective units were already on scene by the time we responded. So they had already secured the scene, put up crime scene tape. By the time we got there, the whole scene was secured. So
The victim was already gone. I never saw the victim. The victim was already in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. By the time we arrived there, like I said, the scene was already secured and we went inside, which the people were sitting inside. So as far as outside, we didn't arrive until the scene was already rolled up, as far as the outside. So we don't know, we didn't see her actually on scene when we arrived, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay. Other questions?
Mr. Jones?
Your employees, do they know how to get in contact with you?
Yes.
Is it posted someplace in the bar where you can readily give that information to somebody in authority?
They have the information on their personal. They have it with them.
Do you know of any reason why they wouldn't give the detectives the information?
That I cannot answer.
A person who's off duty in your bar, do they also work when they're off duty?
They don't necessarily work, but it's more like a family operation, so everybody knows the hardship that we're going through, so people kind of help out. So if somebody is hired security and they're not working on any given night, they'll still look out for suspicious behavior or activity just because it's in their nature. But that doesn't mean that they're being paid to work that night.
Detectives, either one, two biker groups inside the bar started to fight according to the report here. Can anybody verify that?
I cannot verify that. I put that information in the report because it's the information I received from the detective units that were at the scene and a police officer who was a responding police officer at the scene. For me, that was the cause of us being there. Going into the bar to get information so that the detectives could have it to help with their investigation was what the issue that I had with that establishment at the time because none of the employees seemed helpful or cooperative.
And I'm gonna ask this question again. You directly asked them for her, tell them how to contact the owner, and they didn't give you the information.
The 3 employees that I could identify that night, there might have been more, but they didn't step up. Well, the one that was off duty. The 2 employees that I asked for the information, no, they did not provide that information for me. As a matter of fact, they didn't know who she was. One of them mentioned she gave me a nickname. See, I'm sorry. Let me go back to my notes, see if I can find it. I was given a nickname for a lady who they answer to that comes to the bar, but she happened not to be there that night. It wasn't Mrs. Jones.
Mrs. Jones, did you have a manager on duty that night?
Not at the time that this happened.
How much time did you spend at that establishment over the course of the week?
During the course of the week, I'm usually there maybe 2 or 3 times a week, but the manager is there all the time. But again, when this incident happened, we were closed and the manager was gone.
And you had 10 people in the bar?
Approximately 10, Mr. Commissioner. Usually when a crime scene is secured,
People can't leave.
people can't leave. If you're outside the bar, you stay outside, but you stay there. People who are in the bar would more than likely have to remain in the bar. And this is after officers' responses. Some people might have left, but I find it, if a manager, in my opinion, if a manager were there, I would find it hard to believe that the manager left before the police responded.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is it possible that these people ran inside when they heard the gunshots? But Danielle came outside, the bartender, I'm sorry, came outside to assist because they heard the noise. So when the door was open, is it possible that these people rushed in because they heard the gunshots?
He wasn't, he testified he wasn't there, so he would have to
It'd be
speculate, and we're not here for speculation. So your question would be for him to speculate. That's not in evidence, it's not probative. So the answer is, we don't know, because we don't have any facts and evidence. Do we have anything else, officer, detective? I'm sorry, not to demote you, but
One question.
go ahead.
Who decided it was a biker incident? Two
This,
gangs?
this was
Detectives?
information I received from the officers that were on the scene and the detective that was on the scene. I
So
have
the-
the detective's name, but he wasn't summoned to this hearing today.
But the detective said that was a fight inside the bar.
That is correct. And as a matter of fact, which I didn't put in the report, what else was told to me was that the female that got shot was actually trying to break the fight up. And it spilled outside and the incident happened. But I didn't question any witnesses to get this information. It was just the reason why I was there, and the information that I received is what I put in my report.
Okay.
Is she okay, the witness, personal
From what I
shot?
understood, she was okay that night.
Okay. Closing remarks, Ms. Jones? Closing.
Again, like I said, we don't tolerate violence. I don't believe in it, and we don't tolerate it at Lee's Place. So this incident has absolutely nothing to do with me, what I condone, or what I believe in.
Okay. Based on the evidence and the facts of the case, with regard to violation of Rule 3.12, public welfare, as well as violation of Rule 4.18, illegal conduct, I have difficulty, based on the facts, as to where this actually occurred. It would have been nice to have either the victim here or the police officer who, and I'm speaking for myself, I'm not speaking for the other two commissioners. However, on violation of Rule 3.02 cooperation, I think it's clear that the employees and/or staff were less than cooperative to the police officers in their investigation. And I personally would hold a violation of Rule 3.02. My recommendation would be the $500 fine and a suspension that I would be open to listen to the other commissioners.
I'm somewhat in agreement. The two detectives verified that there was no cooperation, but they can't verify for anything else. It's hearsay, and we do take hearsay, but in this case, it doesn't support the charges. But clearly, the questions were asked, and the answers were not given. Better training, better direction. I'm not sure what is needed here, but I do agree that charge 3.02 has been supported. And I agree that a guilty finding should be held in that particular charge. Suspension, I'm not sure about suspension. I think the fine, $500, which should be sufficient. I'm just not sure about suspension at this time.
Mr. Trotter?
Violence is what gets me, and we don't have the proof. We don't have the proof of the violence. And I wish we had somebody else here, like the detective that first was on the scene. I would most probably vote to postpone that violation until we had some clear evidence. But the cooperation is not a question. It's definitely there. To not have a manager at the bar, I don't care what time it is, until everybody's out of the bar and it's secure. You got to have a manager there. And you got X amount of people in there, and you got employees in there, and it's a gunfight. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't care if it was in the bar or outside the bar. It was close enough to the facility that that's a scary thing for the people in that neighborhood, to have a gunfight in the middle of the street outside your bar. I agree with the cooperation, guilty. I would like to see the first violation be held until we got some more evidence.
Madam Secretary?
Well, as I read it for right now, there's that, so that on the first two charges, I have 2 in support of dismissal, and 1 it was both asking for postponement. For the last one, I have all 3 in agreement for the charge of cooperation and the fine of $500, but I do not have any clarity on if there's a suspension of or not. At this case, at this point, this is their first violation. It was a newly issued license in 2014. It was a transfer in 2014, so there was no previous violations.
So based on the vote and the tally, it would be a finding on 302 for $500 and no suspension because we don't have the votes.
Okay.
Right. Now, Ms. Jones, I want you to understand something. If you come back, we're going to make sure that those police officers are summoned. And if they're summoned, you know where I stand. Okay? Okay, have a good
So that's a total fee of $625 with a $125 hearing fee.
Thank you, gentlemen.
How many days to pay?
You can step down there and tell.
30 days? 30 days. That's complete for the day, gentlemen.
Okay, thank you.
Our first violation.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, you think so?